Hey YouTube, what is up? I am Mike. Thank you so much for watching. So like every month, 20 or 25% of my viewers are from Indonesia. I am way more popular in Indonesia than anywhere else in the world for some reason. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know all that much about Indonesia. I know where it is. I know it's a huge country, very diverse as far as the landscape of it and all that. But I don't know a whole lot about Indonesian culture. So I'm going to check out this video right here and see if I can learn anything about you guys that watch me every day. This is biggest culture shocks from foreigners in Indonesia. Let's check it out.
What has been the biggest culture shock for you?
The culture of Indonesia and Pakistan is totally different, my brother.
Election over here is quite different from Tanzania.
I don't know if I want to use the word annoying, but something that I had to get used to.
Ladies and gentlemen, through this video you'll learn how distinct Indonesian culture is, even compared to other countries with similar cultures. Watch and you'll get to experience life in 5 different countries without actually visiting them. Where are you from and how long have you been in Indonesia for?
I'm from the Philippines, and in total, I've been in Indonesia for maybe 3 to 4 years.
What do you think about Indonesia so far?
I'm enjoying Indonesia, and I think that goes to show with how long I've also been here. I like the food. I like the people, mainly because I think Filipinos and Indonesians share a lot of similar.
You know, yeah, I don't know if I've ever had just Indonesian food. I've had a lot of Chinese food and Japanese food and Indian food, Vietnamese and Filipino, Cambodian, but I'm going to have to look and see if there's an Indonesian restaurant. I'm sure there is. We have everything, every kind of cuisine, although I don't know how true it is in the U.S., but I'm sure there's an Indonesian restaurant somewhere near me. I might have to check that out. I love all kinds of international food, so I bet it's good.
Our cultures and background.
What are the biggest similarity between Indonesia and the Philippines?
I would say it's mostly about the value system. For example, Filipinos really value family, which I've also been seeing here. Filipinos are very accommodating and warm people. The same character with Indonesians. A lot of our cultures, like let's say being respectful in general, we're also very similar with those.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You've been here for years now.
Yes.
What has been the biggest culture shock for you?
I was really surprised with how pedas, how spicy Indonesian food can be. 'Cause
I would definitely
for
like it then.
Filipinos, I don't think we consider food delicious if it's too spicy. Like the level of spiciness in Indonesia with the food, it's really too much. So that was a culture shock. Another
Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. I will say, as I've gotten older, I can't quite handle the spice as much as I used to, but yeah, I'm a big fan of spicy food. So I'm definitely going to have to find some Indonesian restaurants around here, or just a recipe. If you got some good recipes, drop them in the comments, links to anything like that. I do most of the cooking in my house. As a matter of fact, last night I made some Cuban food. Today I made the most American thing possible, hot dogs. Yeah, if you've got some good recommendations, I am all about that. Hell, maybe I'll even make a video of me cooking something Indonesian. That's a great idea. Drop that in the comments.
Is the culture of eating in lesehan, in the floor. Yeah, it's not that
yeah,
we
that
don't
would
do
be-
that in the Philippines. We have certain occasions when
So that's like all the time? You just always eat on the floor? Wow. I mean, I've seen that in movies and stuff. I never would have thought to associate that with Indonesia. It wouldn't bother me per se, but I don't know that it'd be the most comfortable.
We eat also, on the floor. But here, it's a very common practice. And so that's really something new even for me. I had to get used to that somehow. And maybe the last one is how there's so many motorcycles. Even like with a young age, they are able to drive the motorcycle. I've also experienced how like old women, yang ibu-ibu ito,
Yes.
they would wonder and they would ask me like, why don't you know how to ride a motorcycle? And I would be so sometimes malu at like surprised because they will, mereka to mau boncheng saya gitu. And so it's funny because like in the Philippines, you won't see old women like that who would be brave enough to ride the motorcycle.
Do you ride motorcycle?
Yeah, you won't see that a lot in the U.S. either. There's certainly plenty of women that ride, but even amongst men, it's not like we all ride motorcycles. I haven't been on a motorcycle in decades.
Cycle?
Yes. One of the best things in being in Indonesia is learning eventually.
What about the biggest differences you have seen between Indonesian people and the Philippines people?
I mean, I cannot speak for Indonesia as a whole, but being exposed to Java most of my time, I would say that maybe Filipinos could be a bit more either aggressive or kaya kras character niya. Unlike for Javanese people who are just, very calm, very soft, and they always try to settle out things in a very bureaucratic way as well. Filipinos would tend to just express our emotions and opinions more freely.
What is the
I'm
most
sure
annoying
Americans
thing
would
in
too.
Indonesia for you?
I think now I eventually got used to this and somehow got comfortable on how to go about it. But in the beginning, I really find the level of curiosity
Of the people.
of the people a bit annoying in the sense that sometimes, when I first meet people, they would be very much open into asking me personal questions. For example, umur niya berapa? O dami ni ka-bloom? I mean, those are, I think,
Wow, and that's a huge difference. To me, those questions right there were not personal at all. How old are you and are you married? Or like almost honestly what we would almost call small talk in the US. So yeah, that wouldn't bother me at all.
some questions are very personal, or it would take time for you to ask someone. So to meet someone for the first time and have those questions asked was a bit annoying in the beginning. But then eventually, as I got to learn the culture and got to learn more about the people, I realized that, oh, ito naman niya
Basa-basi.
basa-basi.
Small talk.
When you leave Indonesia later in
All right.
the future, what do you think you will miss the most?
The Santay culture. I really like the idea of slow living in Indonesia. Filipinos tend to have a faster pace of living, I would say. But here, I learned a lot. There's a lot of wisdom in taking your time. I mean, not for every circumstance is good, right? But in general, there's wisdom into learning how to let things be. And so, yeah, maybe that's something that I would really miss when I go back. I think
And I like that. I mean, here we kind of have, where I live in the U.S. is kind of on the border between the North and the South, where it's the difference between the fast-paced and the slow-paced things. I mean, you go to New York City versus somewhere in Georgia, it's just an entirely different pace of life, and I couldn't go much faster than where I do.
because I've seen how there's so much benefit to it. For me personally, it's a practice I would continue doing.
What country are you from and how long have you been in Indonesia?
I'm from Pakistan. I have been in Indonesia for the past 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
What do you think of Indonesia so far?
Indonesia, no, I'm living in Malang. I stayed in Malang. Malang is so beautiful and the weather Malang is so nice. It's always cold. I like cold actually.
About the weather, is it better here or back home, Pakistan?
In Pakistan nowadays it's so panas, hot, okay? And no hair is dinging. It's okay. The weather is normal here. Biasa weather. Weather is good here.
What has been your biggest culture shock so far?
The culture of Indonesia and Pakistan is totally different, my brother. Okay, here is the people behavior say when they meet the anak kecil, children do like this, like this. I like this one, and the chum, kiss hand of the elder one,
Being polite.
Yeah, being polite and the good communication. Indonesian people is so nice,
Okay.
It's good.
Do they not do that in?
So I'm not. Did I follow that correctly? Like, children will regularly kiss your hand? Is that what was going on here? I got to see that again. I'm sorry.
Brother, okay. Here is the people behavior say when they meet the anak kecil, children do like this, like this. I like this one, and the chum, kiss hand of the elder one,
Being polite.
Yeah, being polite and the good communication. Indonesian people is.
I'm guessing that this is a language thing where, like, he didn't really mean children. He talked about elders there. So is this like we're talking about maybe, yes, a child to, a 30-year-old would do that or something, but is that something like a 20 to a 50-year-old or something? And what's like the circumstances for that? Like, this can't just be everybody you meet, right? Or this is, family member? What are we talking about here? Let me fill me in a little bit more on that. That's interesting.
So nice, It's good.
Do they not do that in Pakistan?
In Pakistan also, people very friendly, hospitable, and good people also in Pakistan.
Okay. But they don't kiss hands.
No, it's not like that. We hug and we handshake, yeah.
I see.
We handshake and hug, yeah.
Really? So it's like that comparable?
Between Indonesian people and
Wow.
Pakistani people.
Here in Indonesia, the food is makan. Makan always nasi. Selalu nasi. Okay, but the Pakistan, no nasi all time. Maybe once a day or once in a week. But in Indonesia, every time nasi. 3 times nasi. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, nasi.
Lunch
nasi.
and
Do
dinner.
you like eating rice?
I love rice. Don't get me wrong, but once a day is enough for me.
I don't like eating rice always, because in my country we think it's not good for health. We will become fatty. If you eat rice small time, you will become fat babies.
What is your main
From
dish
rice?
there?
In Pakistan, is the favorite dish.
From rice. I mean, I guess it's possible. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, but comparatively, like, given the other options that I could eat on a daily basis, rice is not. It's not one of the fat foods that I worry about and stay away from.
Of all people is nasi biryani. Biryani rice.
So the same, right? You eat rice with
Yes,
rice.
but the taste is different. Rasani barbeda, yeah.
What is the most annoying thing for you here in Indonesia?
All thing is good with me and I'm enjoying her.
Really?
Yeah. So I will not say there is annoying thing or like this, everything is good.
When you leave Indonesia later, what do you think you will miss the most about Indonesia?
I will miss the cuaca weather, Malang weather, and of course miss everything because it's time, good hair, and people also. I will miss all actually.
Including rice.
Yeah.
You will miss nasi.
Nasi goreng. I like nasi goreng pentol bug, so I will miss. Yeah, of course I will miss.
What country are you from and how long have you been in Indonesia for?
I'm from the United States, and
Alright.
I've been here for about 9 months.
What do you think of Indonesia so far?
I really enjoy living here. People are really friendly. The food is pretty good, and yeah, there's just a lot of culture and different opportunities to learn new things here. So
You've been here for 9 months now. What is the biggest culture shock you have experienced?
maybe one thing is the roads. Yeah, just the driving is really different here. So it's crossing the road is actually was something I had to get used to. I had to have a friend teach me when you're crossing the road. You just kind of walk, put your hand out, and people go around you. That was a little scary at first. Maybe
Wow.
another thing would just be
Yeah,
maybe
don't
the
do
food.
that
The
here.
food is really good.
Don't do that here.
So it wasn't a hard thing to get used to.
good shock.
Yeah, good shock.
What are the biggest differences
she's a fan of the
between
food,
Indonesian and American in your opinion?
I think one pretty big difference is that in the United States, where it's a pretty individualistic country, right? So
Excuse me, sorry about that. Got something caught in my throat. I had to pause for a minute and back this up for a second.
In the United States, where it's a pretty individualistic country, right? So I think people are really focused on things like, their jobs or work, which is not a bad thing. But here, I think people tend to be really like collective and like family oriented. I think that's.
I'd also like to know where, she's from the United States, like I am, which is a huge country. It's literally like 50 different countries combined together. I think that varies a lot in the U.S. depending on what part of the country you're in as to exactly how individualistic it is. There's always a streak of that, by all means. But, I think most families are pretty family oriented in the United States.
One pretty big difference.
What about the similarities?
Here in Indonesia, I feel like, I've met so many different people. Like I've traveled a bit and everywhere I go is a little bit different.
Like ethnicity?
Yeah, sort of like that. There's different, languages, different, culture, things like that, different food. And I think maybe in the United States, because there's people from all over the world that live there, you can sort of find that as well.
What is the most annoying thing you have ever experienced here in Indonesia?
Maybe, I don't know if I want to use the word annoying, but something that I had to get used to at the beginning was, I think, being asked certain questions like, how old are you? Or are you
What
married?
the fuck?
That were like really personal.
Hold the... I don't know what the fuck part of the United States she's from. I cannot relate to this at all. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not going to be like one of the very first questions out of my mouth, but like, I'm not going to ask somebody at the grocery store how old they are or if they're married. But like, if I'm meeting a person that's, a friend of my friend, and we're spending some time together, I mean, yeah, I'm probably not going to ask if they're married or not because, that's generally pretty obvious. And I may not ask how old they are at this point in my life just because most people I meet are going to be around my age. But like if I'm not pretty sure, I don't have any problem asking that question, and I don't have any problem with anybody asking me that question. I am stunned at her answer to this as a fellow American. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. That's just not personal.
It was kind of shocking at first.
Yeah, Indonesians use those questions for like small talk, ice breaking and such. Are you
Yes.
used to it now?
Yeah, now I'm used to it. I've definitely figured out how the small talk works here. But that's something I guess that is pretty different for me.
During the first time you have been asked that question, do you answer them or what did you do?
Yeah, I think I answered. I think I tried to not look surprised because I didn't want them to think I was uncomfortable. But yeah, once I kind of recovered from a little bit of shock, I think I answered.
What question?
I think the most surprising one was if I was married.
Okay. When you leave Indonesia later in the future, what do you think you will miss the most?
I think I'll probably miss the people. Yeah, I've met a lot of people here that are just really great. And I think they're so easy to talk to and really friendly. And I think that will be something that I'll miss a lot.
You mean the people in general or the people you know?
I think both.
Okay.
I think, people I know for sure, but definitely just in general, how I think warm people are, how, easy it is to have a small conversation with somebody you don't know. It's something that's I think really nice that I'll miss. If you call like a go ride or something and you just have a conversation, like people are really open to just talking and asking you questions like, oh, where are you from? What are you doing in Indonesia? And they
I mean, she honestly sounds like, I don't know would love to know what part of the United States she is from. I mean, maybe she's from like New York City or something. Because I know it can be different in places. I haven't actually visited New York, but I've been to some other big cities, Boston and Miami. But even there, I never had a problem just striking up a conversation with people. I remember when I was in Miami, we were walking down the street, and we'd spent all day on the beach, and we wanted to find a local bar, like not one of these, touristy places. We wanted to find a local bar that we could go to and, have a drink to finish the night. And I saw this guy and his wife and a baby walking in their stroller, coming towards us. And I just looked at him. I'm like, this is definitely a local. They're going to be able to answer the question and put me in the right place. And I just was like, hey, man, where's a good local bar around here? I don't want to go to big tourist place. What's a good hole in the wall place to go to? And he says, good day, mate. Right down there. You want to go? But he was a local. He had lived there for quite some time, but obviously it was Australian. It was awesome. It was great. But I would just love to hear where she's from, because the kind of thing she's talking about is not my experience in the United States at all. We have small talk regularly all the time in the Midwest where I'm from. It's just normal, completely normal. Sounds like it's just like it is in Indonesia.
You seem interested in what you're doing here. I think it's just, to me, feels really friendly. It's a stranger you don't know that wants to talk with you.
Yeah,
What
your
country are
driver?
you from, and
Of
how
course.
long have you been in Indonesia for?
I'm from Tanzania and I've been here 8 months.
What do you think of Indonesia so far?
It's a very nice country. By the time that I came here, I was very much inspired with the culture, and the country is, can I mix with bahasa Indonesia? And the country is lebih aman.
Lebih aman dari Tanzania.
Negara lain, there are some countries, if you hear like, this country, you might get shocked. I don't want to be there because of maybe the country is not peacefully, but for this country, it's one of the peaceful countries. That's why I've decided.
Yeah,
to
that was
come
always
over.
my
You've
impression,
been here for
certainly,
8 months
was that it's
now.
a safe
What
place.
has shocked you the most?
Oh, actually, the culture here, especially tribes. There are so many tribes. I think over 300 tribes, and each tribe have their own uniqueness. If you go out and you see somebody have a certain kind of cloth, this guy is from Bali. For example, they have udeng, they have this kind, their own batik, kebaya. Yeah, the culture and also the language. Apart from bahasa Indonesian language, they are also speaking their vernacular languages. Like people from Papua, they have their vernacular language, but what unites all Indonesian is Indonesian language.
What are the biggest differences you have?
So I'll say that I did not realize, tribalism is not something that we have in the United States. Obviously at one point, our whole country was tribes of people that we don't have very many of them anymore. But it's except for going in those parts of the country, it's not a word that, we really think about. That's interesting.
Scene between Indonesia and Tanzania.
I was lucky to see your election over here. It's quite different from Tanzania. Since I've told you earlier, like this country is lebih aman. You might even see a security guy or satpam. People are just choosing their leaders, but he's here sitting, and sometimes he can even smoke. But in my country, it's quite different. It's safe, but you have to take care of yourself. So that if there is a security guy, he has to be there, maybe with a gun or what, in case of self-defense.
When you leave Indonesia later,
Yeah,
what do you
that's-
think you will miss the most?
Of course,
Yeah, what do you guys have? Firearms, like as citizens in Indonesia? I have no idea on that. I'm not a big gun guy in the U.S. I'm not opposed to it either, though. I own a gun. I'm just not. I don't go out and shoot regularly. Just enough to know that I know how to use the thing if I ever need to. But I live in a safe place too, so I don't feel like I'm probably ever going to need to. But it's not like people talk about the United States like there's just guns everywhere all the time, and it's really not like that. There are guns everywhere all the time, but not like walking around on the street with you. Most people they're locked up in their houses until they need or want to use them. But I have no idea about how it works in Indonesia. I'm curious about that. Definitely let me know in the comments about that.
I will miss my friends. I have a lot of friends over here. Actually, they are the ones who helped me to know Indonesian language. They used to help me, assist me, whether I'm wrong. Oh, this shouldn't be like this. It should be like this way. Ya, meskipun aku belum lancar, tapi sekarang aku mengerti. Mungkin 70% ketika kamu berbicara pakai bahasa Indonesia, aku mengerti. And I came here knowing nothing.
I think that's all. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Well, very cool. Very cool. I definitely learned a few cultural things, differences between Indonesia and US, but also like differences between, I think, Indonesia and other parts of the US versus ways that where I'm at. I think it's actually kind of comparable. That was really interesting. I think I'm going to watch some more videos along this line and see what else I can learn. Let me know what you think of this, and if you've got any other videos to recommend for me to check out. I'm certainly all about doing that. Very, very interesting, and looking forward to learning more. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Mike. Have a great day.